let's do a get ready with me and a story time because this story just deserves to be shared. Alright, to set the scene for you, I was in middle school, and in middle school, it's literally the most awkward years of your life, and everybody is just trying to fit in. At this stage of my life, I was kind of going through a rough patch, just hanging around the wrong people. I wasn't really bad, but I definitely needed to get back on track. So during middle school, we needed AR points, which were like reading points, and we had to take tests on books. And I hadn't finished my book yet, but you know, I was in my self-care era even back then, and I decided to take my book into the bath to read, but I also decided to take my phone. Let me also add, this is when iPhones were not as waterproof as they are now. So I go to step into my freshly made bath with bubbles and everything, with my book in one hand, a bath bomb in the other hand, and my phone. So my hands were full, too full. So when I step in, I drop my phone. Traumatic. I'm obviously upset because I think my phone is broken. I also dropped my book, which I'm borrowing from the school. And so I pick my phone up. My book is just floating through the water. And I pick my phone up like this. I don't think anything of it. I run downstairs, I put it in a bag of rice, and I get back in my bath and I start reading my half-soaken book. All of a sudden, people are banging on the bathroom door, saying that my best friend has called the house phone like 8 million times. So I get out of the bath in my towel, I walk to my room, and I call her back, and I'm like, hey, like, what's up? She's flipping out, like, she is hyperventilating, you know, like, Ace, what is on your story? What is on your story? And I'm like, what do you mean what's on my story? Like, my phone is broken in a bag of rice. And she's like, girl, like, there's a video of on your story. And I'm in complete shock, so I'm literally just sitting on my bed in a towel, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to tell my mom, like, this is horrifying. I tell my mom, my best friend comes over. I'm still wrapped in a towel, and I look down over my balcony, and my neighbors are there, my dad is there, everyone you don't want to be there to see this video. I get to watch the video for the first time, and I am literally bawling my eyes out, and my book is just floating through the water of the video. If you're wondering why I didn't just log in and delete it, I didn't know my login. So some kid eventually logged in and deleted it for me, and at school the next day everyone hugged me and acted as if I had a family member pass away, and I had to give a speech in front of the whole school. Don't take your phone in the bath.
Story time on how me and my ex-best friend aren't friends anymore. You might want to grab a snack and sit down because this is going to be a lot. By the way, this is no hate whatsoever towards her. I do hope for the best for her. Just for some background, this has happened before in our friendship. A situation kind of like this that caused a huge breakup before. Also, she does go to a different school than me. She goes to my sister's school. She's like a grade younger. Anyway, so starting off, our whole friendship was like sideways. There was always something going on. Certain situations like friendships, boyfriends, school, anything like that, it was always, you know. In the past, she has broken up me and my ex-boyfriend out of a whole lie, and it was just a really big situation. I mean, in the end, we did break up. And throughout that period of time, she hated him. She didn't like me being with him. She would get upset if I hung out with him, even though I spent literally every single weekend with her. She just broke us up because she didn't want us together. So that should give you a little bit of background on this situation. So this starts off and I'm sitting in class. I get a phone call from this girl and she's telling me, did you see this account? I was absolutely confused. I was like, what account are you talking about? She told me, you know, the secret account that Rain has. Rain is the code name for my ex-best friend. I was like, absolutely not. Let me see this account. So she shows me it, and mind you, there's a whole bunch of girls by this girl and they're all like talking about it. So she shows me it, and it's literally a whole bunch of videos about me, and the videos are a whole bunch of lies, and majority of those videos are based on me and my current boyfriend. Mind you, she'd always tell me, I hate your current boyfriend, and she'd sit there and make fun of him and say all these things about him when she knew I didn't feel comfortable with that and I didn't like it one bit. She just thought it was a big joke and she could say whatever she wants because she was my best friend at the time. Anyways, it was a whole bunch of videos bashing me, a whole bunch of lies. It was misleading lies about me personally and me and my boyfriend, and the whole reason for these videos was to get a hint of fame. You know how people make those accounts, those secret accounts, and try to blow up on them? That's exactly what she did, yet she used me, her best friend, to slander for fame. As I was looking through these, I'm not kidding you, my heart dropped and I started bawling. I was so confused on what this was even for. I was so confused because there was nothing going on at all. The entire time she was secretly having an account, blocked me and everybody that's related towards me, like friends, family, blocked. And she's sitting here bashing me for fame. And I just like to point out, at the time, she was slowly replacing me with a girl that she would talk insane things about. Like this girl, she would always be talking bad about her, and I didn't know it yet that she was replacing me until later on. Anyways, after I see all those videos, my first resort was to text her. So I sent her a really big paragraph, and I made it the most respectful as possible. And I was heartbroken. I was devastated because my best friend of almost 3 years is sitting on social media bashing me for fame and making a whole bunch of lies about me just for fame. So when I texted her, she responded hours later, ignoring the whole paragraph and saying, yeah, we can talk later. We never talked later. And it's been weeks. And after I did send her that paragraph, I did notice she made another video about me. I was just so lost. I was confused on what I did in the first place. I did absolutely nothing but be there for her and comfort her, and I was a really good friend to her. And behind my back, she's sitting here and doing all of this. She has chosen her boyfriend and this girl that she was replacing me with, and I didn't think much of it. So weeks go by and she's still talking bad about me, which I still have no idea for what reason. And meanwhile, during that time, her boyfriend is sitting there bullying my little sister at school. And on the lines of that, the girl that she was replacing me with the entire friendship, as soon as we stopped being friends, they were immediately best friends. They were together 24/7, doing the exact same things that me and her would do. So it shows how easily replaced I was. I don't know if this whole thing is based off of jealousy or what. I honestly am still confused to this day. I have no idea what caused this or what has happened. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I love you guys so much. Bye.
What would you do if you just found out your best friend of 5 years was stealing from you? Because I just found out that my best friend of 5 years was stealing from me, and I honestly don't know what to do. So let's rewind and start from the beginning, because this is actually insane to me, and that is why I haven't posted in about 5 days, because I have been dealing with this drama for the same amount of time that I haven't been posting. Dude, we're gonna call this girl Bella. Wait, I actually have 2 really good friends named Bella who didn't do this, so we're gonna call this girl Stacy. So also, excuse the chocolate on my face, I literally just had pie bowls, but I have been friends with Stacy since, like I said, 5 years. So I've been friends with her since 8th grade. So me and Stella became really close really quick. We don't go to the same school or anything, but we met through mutual friends, and we have been really good friends, or so I thought, ever since. Me and this girl, like, we have been friends, and like I was always there for her. Like, I haven't been anything but a good friend to this girl. Like, I'm always there for her. Like, anytime she ever needed me to spot her on something, like I was always there. Like, literally just always there for her. And like, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys like she never did anything for me, but, and like, this isn't a comparison because we're friends and I didn't expect her to ever like do anything back. Like, I did stuff not expecting anything in return. But I did start to notice that every time I did do something for her or like spot her, like even like $1, she would never say thank you or anything. She would take it as if I should be the one like paying for her and all that stuff. And there are so many stories about this girl. Like, one time we were both getting something to eat, and she's the one who planned like the dinner and everything, and she reserved a spot. But once we got there, she claimed that she had forgot her wallet, and I remember seeing it in her car because she picked me up and took me there because she's the one who planned the date and everything, and I didn't have my license at that point. And I remember telling her like, oh, I thought I saw it in your car, like, do you want me to run out and grab it for you? Because I had already put my share of the bill on in the table on the check. And she was like, no, like, I know for sure that I left it at my house. Like, I swear on everything, it's in my house. So do you mind just spotting me and I'll pay back later? So obviously I said yes, and later when I asked her like, hey, like, is everything going okay with like the PayPal, like insinuating that like to pay me back and everything, because usually we would like pay each other back through PayPal, she was like, oh, like, what do you mean? And I just wasn't about to push her at that point, because like I knew she knew what I meant, but like I just didn't like say anything, because I'm just like, oh, like I guess you just didn't want to pay me back. So fast forward, when I found out that she was stealing from me was when I was on TikTok. But let's just go back a second. I just remembered this. During like the months that I found out that she was stealing from me, which we'll get into later, I was actually starting to notice some of my stuff missing. Like, I thought that I just misplaced it in the laundry, because I, like, before, like, me and her had been friends, like, I also noticed some of my stuff missing, and, like, I would find it, like, a couple months later, so I was just like, all right, like, I just lost my favorite sweatshirt, whatever, I'll find it later. And y'all, I'm already at 3 minutes. I'm about to film part 2, so go to part 2 now. Love you guys. Bye!
So when I was in high school, I was friends with this girl. For story's sake, we'll call her Hannah. So it was like near the end of our senior year. I had gone and driven to Hannah's house, and it was just me and her. We were just hanging out, whatevs. And she starts talking about how she wants to go to this party that these kids at our school were throwing. This location was called The Barn, and it was a literal barn that this kid would throw parties at, right? So I had never been to the fucking barn ever in my life. I never had fucking planned on going there. Solely based on the fact, so the friend group that would throw parties at the barn, I didn't agree with the ideology. Frankly, I didn't even like any of them as people either. So I was like, fuck no, I'm not fucking taking my ass there. But she wanted to get her ass in there so bad just so she could talk to her ex-boyfriend that she has been on again, off again for how many goddamn years. And at this time, he was with a completely different bitch, you know? So in my head, I was like, there's so many things wrong with this situation and so many things that could go even worse. So me being me, just trying to please my friends, I was like, fine, we'll go, but I do not want to stay long at all. Like, just do what you need to do. Like, we need to be there like an hour max, maybe 30 minutes max. So I had hit up like 3 of my other friends to come with us because, like, again, like, I don't really know anyone at this fucking party, not really friends with any of them, don't like most of them. So yeah, they come with us, they pick us up, we arrive at the fucking barn, and the first thing we see is this kid fucking walks out of the barn and comes up to us and starts critiquing what my friends are wearing. Like, what the fuck is this? Are you a goddamn bouncer? And he's like talking to my friend like, I don't like the shoes you got on. Like, bitch, get the fuck back where the fuck you were. Do you, like, ugh. And immediately I was like, oh my god, I literally want to go home, but we press forward. So then my other 3 friends start talking about how they want to leave after like 30 minutes, maybe an hour passes. They're like, they want to leave. People here are fucking weird. They're giving them a hard time. They don't like them. And they just want to go home. And I was like, bitch, fuck yeah, like, I want to fucking leave, you know? So I'm talking to Hannah, like, all of us are talking to Hannah. We're like, okay, like, I think that was enough. Like, we should go. Hannah didn't get a chance to talk to her boy yet, so she didn't want to leave, obviously. She started asking me, like, do you think we can just find another ride and you can stay with me and they can go? And I was like, me being people pleasy again, I was like, sure, like, we'll just find a different ride. And then I told my other 3 friends, like, okay, it's fine, you can go, and we'll figure it out, you know? Which I don't know why the fuck I did that, because we weren't friends with anyone there. No one was gonna fucking take us home. So the night very unfortunately goes on, and then she ends up talking to her boy, and I'm like, fucking finally, now we can almost be fucking done, you know? So, like, they leave me to go talk. I'm like, whatevs, private conversation, don't really care. But I'm by myself, so don't know anyone, by myself. So at this point, they were gone for a while, and I was like, fuck, I'm literally so over this. Like, how long is this gonna fucking take? And I had went to where they were talking. They were, like, in the back of the barn, fucking back of the barnyard, and I go up to them. I'm like, hey, guys, like, what's going on? Can I join you guys? Because literally the whole entire time they were talking, I was, like, walking around this kid's fucking house. Like, literally a stranger's home. I'm just walking around, looking around, went in the barn, went inside their house, and I was like, wow, this is nice, you know? Hannah then tells me, she's like, the conversation's, like, really private. Like, can you, like, go somewhere else? And I was like, fine, because I have nowhere else to go anyways. So I did what I was told, trying to fucking, like, help my friend, and I just sit on this kid's fucking porch by myself, and I'm like, whatever, I'll just wait. And then this girl comes up to me, and she's fucking, like, stumbling all over the place, and I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck? And she, like, grabs onto me and everything, and I'm, like, trying to help her up and everything, and I ask her if she's okay, and she's, like, telling me all the shit she was doing and everything like that, and I looked at her face, and I was like, oh my god, this girl, it looks so young. And I asked her, and I'm like, hey, how old are you, by the way?
And she's like, oh, I'm in 8th grade, like, I'm 13. And I told her, I was like, bitch, we are literally seniors, like 17, 18-year-olds. And I was like, dude, I should have known. I should have never fucking come here. And I was telling the girl, I'm like, oh my God, what you need to do, you need to call your mother. You need to go home. I don't care how much trouble you're going to get in. You cannot be here. And at that point, I was so fucking uncomfortable. So then I went back to Hannah and I was like, please, can we like go? I'm so uncomfortable right now. Literally a fucking preteen came up to me just now. And she continues to like shoo me away because she's still talking. So I'm getting fucking irritated. So I walk into the house, like fucking storm into this person's fucking house, and I see a girl that I have like fucking art class with, you know, and I start talking to her. I'm like, hey girl, like, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, hey, like, blah, 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 like, oh my God, I didn't think you'd be here, you know, like, you know how bitches be, you know? So I'm talking to that girl, and then all her little cheerleader friends come over too and start talking to us because they were all going home together. And that's when I slip in. I'm like, hey guys, like, real talk, like, do you think I can catch a ride with you guys? Because like my friend is still talking, I have nowhere to go, and like I'm literally like just stranded here. And they're like, girl, of course you can come with us. So I'm like, thank God they were fucking there that night. So then I walk back to the porch, and like the fucking little girl is like on her phone and everything like that. She's like, my mom's gonna come pick me up. Okay, I sat there and I waited for her mother to come get her, and I talked to her mother. I didn't even know the fucking girl's name, but I was like, I don't know why she's here, but people here are older and these people are weird, and I'm trying to leave. She needs to go home. So her mom took her home, and then I went to go find Hannah again. I'm like, Hannah, I'm leaving because fuck you, to be honest, for making me do this. Yeah, I'm obviously mad at her, and I just tell her I'm going. And then I leave with all these fucking like cheerleader girls and I tell them to drop me off at Hannah's house, and I get there, and right when I get there, it's fucking 3 a.m. at this point. Hannah then calls me and she's like, can you please pick me up? And I told her I was irritated, and I was like, dude, I've been wanting to leave for literally hours because we got there at what, maybe 10 o'clock? It's 3 a.m. Before I left too, I literally asked her, I'm like, is it okay if I go? Like, even though I'm fucking angry, I'm like, is that okay though? You know what I mean? And she's like, yeah, I'll figure it out. She didn't figure it out, so she just asked me. So she made me drive fucking like 20 minutes back because she was mad at me and everything, and I can't deal with people being mad at me before. So I got her, I dropped her off at her house, and I fucking took my ass home, finally. Moral of the story is, it's okay to have boundaries, and you should be able to say no. And that if you are friends with someone who is constantly pressing you for their own benefit and doing things only for their benefit, yeah, stop being friends with them, girl.
Ready with me while I tell you some stories about my childhood. Okay, so back in like maybe 5th grade, we were using a trap phone to like use Snapchat. It was my sister's old phone, and so we were like, if you give us the trap phone, then we'll tell you the screen time password. And a few days later, she ends up snitching on me and my older sister to my parents. All of us, but mainly just me and my older sister, got grounded for, I'm not even joking, like 2 months. Couldn't watch TV, couldn't have our phones, no iPads, no computer. My dad, when we were little, if we didn't listen, he would literally grab the hairs right here. I literally don't even have them anymore, but he would grab the hairs right here and drag us if we didn't listen or do something that he told us to do. One time my sister slammed my door. It wasn't even me, my sister slammed my door, and 10 minutes later my mom comes up and she just takes my door off completely. So I didn't have a door for like a month. When I was learning to swim, I was like 3 or 4, and my grandpa would literally like let me drown before he like picked me up and carried me out the water. I don't really know if this is normal, but I would eat dinner with my priest. Like, we would have him over for dinner. Like, I don't know, but I would just remember my parents lecturing me and being like, you better be on your best behavior. Or when we were playing outside in the neighborhood, my dad, if he wanted us to come back to the house, he would just whistle and we would know it's him, and we would just go running back to the house. And if we didn't, if he had to whistle twice, we'd probably get... Back in the day, like elementary school, I didn't know that the words chichis, mocos, and chonies were not English, and my parents just never wanted to tell me that, I guess. And I would go to school and I would say these words, and like people would like look at me weird. I'd be like, what? Like, your chonies are showing. And they'd be like, chonies? This is hilarious. My abuelita and abuelito's favorite holiday was Easter, because we would all go over to their house and like run around and find Easter eggs. So when they passed, we would go to their cemetery, and it was their favorite holiday, so we would go do an Easter egg hunt at the cemetery. And I would tell my friends this. They'd be like, you went to the cemetery and did an Easter egg hunt? At the dinner table, if we weren't behaving, like if we were just even simply messing with our food or weren't using our table manners at all, we would be asked to leave the dinner table and we wouldn't eat. I just remember that happening to me because, I don't know, I just would goof off a lot. Okay, that is all for my Get Ready With Me. Thank you guys for watching, and maybe I'll do more videos like this.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you things that I've never told you before. So there's this girl I played a sport with in high school, and she always thought she was better than me. And at this sport, she 100% was better than me. I never claimed to be the best. She just thought she was above me and everyone else in general. When she graduated, she unfollowed me on Instagram, and so I blocked her. But the reason I was so fast to hit block with this girl is she would make fun of my social media when I was just starting, when I was a senior in high school with all of her friends, which is very ironic because the story takes a turn. I have a pretty tough skin now after doing social media for 5 years, but something that always sticks with me is when I was literally like 17 years old, just a baby, trying to navigate TikTok and social media for the first time, and those people that I went to school with that made fun of me. I will never forget. So that. Anyway, so I'm at Miami. One day I get a text from her. Hey, Abby, it looks like you're having such a fun time at college, which I don't know how she's saying because she's blocked. I started this clothing company. I started this like sweatshirt line. I was wondering if I could send you a few sweatshirts in exchange for a post. What? Honestly, I'm so impressed by how bold she was to be able to reach out like that after like talking terribly about me in high school. So I remember I just sent her my media kit, which if you don't know, media kit is like your rates for posts. So I just like sent her a PDF of all my rates for TikTok and Instagram. She was also friends with my high school boyfriend, who you guys I've never ever brought him up on here just because our relationship was never on social media. It was before I did social media. I also found out different girl, one of my closest friends in high school, tried to hook up with my ex-boyfriend like right after we broke up, and I didn't find that out till like a year ago. That was crazy. Yeah, let me know if you guys want more story times.
Get ready with me while I tell you about how my little cousin became my little brother. So growing up, ever since I was literally born, I've always been very close with my aunt, which is my mom's sister. Well, my aunt had 2 kids. One of them is the one that is now my brother. So my aunt had 2 kids, and then my cousin's dad had passed away in his sleep. And right after that, my aunt got super sick with cancer. So my uncle passed away, and then my aunt was super sick, and she actually beat cancer the first time, but then I don't really know the timeline, like a year or a couple years later, my aunt got cancer again. This time the cancer was a lot worse, and the doctors did tell us that it was terminal, but that she had a long time to live. Well, this time while my aunt had cancer, she was in a very abusive relationship and literally getting the crap beat out of her all the time. It was just a super toxic cycle that no one could really get her out of, and we had all tried. He had been to jail. She lived with us at one point. Every time, unfortunately, she just went back, and there was nothing we could do. Like, this guy that she was with was not good at all. Like, I vividly remember on my cousin's 16th birthday, him calling my sister a whore and throwing a chair at the back of her head and barely missing by an inch. So after that day, my mom made it a rule where if he was around, I was not allowed to see my aunt because my mom did not want us to get hurt or us to be around that, which was a very difficult time because, like I said, we had always been super close with my aunt, so it meant that if someone dangerous was around, we couldn't see her, which was understandable, but it still also sucked because then we couldn't see our aunt. I vividly remember there was one Christmas where my mom made an exception to this rule, and she actually let us go to our aunt's house, and she was like, this is the one time and we're just gonna see how it goes. And I vividly remember getting screamed at by him telling me to move my legs because it was in front of the TV and he couldn't see it, and he screamed at me, so my sister screamed back and argued with him. My aunt then kicked him out of the house, and he kept trying to come back that night. So obviously then I was not allowed over there again because he was crazy. Like a year or 2 after that, my aunt unfortunately ended up passing away. But before my aunt passed away, she used to always tell my mom that if anything happened to her, that she wanted my mom to have custody of her son, which at the time, I think he was like 6 or 7 because he's now 9. Which this was not a shock to anyone because ever since my little cousin was born, he was always at our house. Like my mom literally was the one who picked the name for him. Well, after my aunt passed away, the guy that would literally abuse my aunt all of a sudden wanted custody of my little cousin. He also used to tell my aunt all the time that those were her kids and they were not his kids, and he wanted nothing to do with them. Which was true. They are not his kids. But the fact him saying that he wanted nothing to do with them and then my aunt passes away and he all of a sudden wants custody of my little cousin
made no sense. So my mom did exactly what she was meant to do, and she got lawyers and she fought him in court for, I think, a year, maybe over a year. Like, it was a long time. And honestly, the court battle was freaking crazy, and since my aunt was no longer here, any evidence we had from her was hearsay. I don't know. Which, after that, my mom did get majority custody, which still sucks that he has to go over there, but yeah, that is the story time on how my little cousin became my little brother, and it was one of the best things that has ever happened to me. And before y'all come for me, I know he's not my actual biological brother, but I do consider him my brother, and I would not want it any other way. It is the biggest blessing that has ever happened to me, and I'm so incredibly grateful. But yeah, that's my story time. Bye.